Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we're going to talk about what fuels the human and what fuels the soul. So I'll separate the human and the soul out, even though our soul is made up of a lot of our higher aspects. And our human is a really teeny aspect. But when you're in your human programming, when you're in your human realities, the human aspect is the one that in a way rules the reality, right? It's the one that makes the decisions. It's the one that is feeding us all this stuff. It's because we have very human DNA. Now, eventually our DNA shifts. The more we expose our human DNA to higher consciousness, the DNA will morph, and it's not really human DNA anymore, but that's a different video. But what fuels the human and what fuels you when you get to higher states of consciousness, when you have more of your soul in your body? Because usually people's soul, it's like in their field, but it's not in their body. There's too much garbage in your body to have your soul in there. So a human can see like this much, right? It can't really expand out to see everything in your field. And that's really what precognizance is in a sense. You just see everything in your field. It might not be the vibration you're at in this moment. That's why a human perception is it's in the future, because it hasn't happened yet. It's because your frequency is not the frequency of that thing yet, whatever that thing is. So that's why you become a lot more precognitive when you start to expand your consciousness. That's why people will do it when they're sleeping. They'll dream the future or what they'll perceive as the future because it's not here yet. Their frequency raises to a point where they can see it. And they can see the frequency of this thing. How long it takes them to get their body to that frequency, that's how long it's going to take that thing to come in. So that's why you can see it. But our soul is not in our human body. It comes in little bit by little bit. And that's kind of reverse when the babies come in, because the babies get programmed into the human realities. And then they kind of shift the other way. So we kind of come in kind of very awake in a sense, and then become more and more into our human programming, and our human rules what's going on in a sense. It really doesn't. But our soul and our higher aspects like to make it think it does. It lets the human play for a while, but eventually things that are really misaligned, because you're always going to be going up in frequency. Even if you're not trying to go up in frequency, you're always going up in frequency. You're always learning your soul lessons, whether you're trying to learn them or not. There's some things you can't get out of, and that's one of them. But you'll find when you're really in your human realities, humans are ruled by emotions. Emotions is what gets a human moving. Anger gets a human moving. Jealousy gets a human moving. Guilt, shame, blame. Keep going with the emotions. That's what gets the human moving. All those types of emotions. That's why they get so caught up in the chaos. They get so caught up in what's going on and all the chaos going on, because that's what gets them going. That's what fuels the human, is the chaos. That's why it's so difficult when we start to pull away from our human realities, because we are kind of addicted to the chaos. It's kind of boring in the beginning when you start pulling out of that stuff, because it has a very addictive quality to it. Humans are motivated by certain things, just get them to do other things. It pushes them one direction or the other. Sex pushes them in one direction or the other. Alcohol, drugs, it doesn't really matter what they're utilizing to kind of push them forward. Different things push them forward. But emotions are a huge driver that push them forward. But when you get to higher states of consciousness, you really don't have the emotions anymore. And when I say you don't have the emotions anymore, you don't really have highs or lows anymore. Because the reason the human can feel like when they hit a real high, something happens and it really activates a lot of happiness, and they hit that frequency of what happy is. It's such a high frequency for them. That's why the human body can't hold the frequency for long periods of time, because it's not its normal frequency. It's not its base frequency. But when you get to where your frequency is always happiness or joy or peace or compassion or whatever your frequency gets to, you don't feel the sways in the emotions. You don't have the emotions anymore. Yes, emotions come up to clear, because emotions do cloud. They cloud what you can see. The human can only see this much because they have all the emotions in place, all the story in place, all the programming in place. When we talk about clearing human programming, clearing human emotions, that's really what we're talking about. we have to get all that stuff out of the way. And the more the soul goes in the body, raises the vibration of the body, then we have to clear on other levels. So don't be thinking it's weird that you don't have highs or you don't get ruled by emotion anymore. And a lot of humans don't understand that. And when I just say humans, it's just living in your human consciousness. When you're not living in that consciousness anymore, you're very alien to people because you're not ruled by your emotions. You don't let emotions get in the way. I'll never make a decision when I have an emotion there. I will work through it, the emotion first, and clear the emotion, and then look at it again. Because I won't let emotion fuel my decision making. I work through the emotion first. If I have an emotion about it, normally very few things I kind of have emotions about. But when I do have an emotion pop up, I have to clear the emotion and then look at it, because the emotions cloud all of your judgment. You can't see anything. You can't really make any type of judgments in that frame of mind. You just can't do that when you're not even frame of mind, frame of field, I guess. You can't really see anything. So what fuels, when you're not getting fueled by emotions, what fuels you? Creation is always going to fuel the soul. Anything that's creative, anything you feel like you want to do, anything that's expressive, you just have to keep producing stuff. You never get tired of producing stuff, sharing information. That's the stuff that feeds the soul. That's the stuff that gets the soul going. That's what the soul wants to do. Generosity, compassion, love, that feeds the soul. Those vibrations feed the soul. You'll have no interest in the other stuff. Now, when you start first leaving it, it can feel odd because you're kind of in the in-between state. You haven't gotten to the place where you're in those other emotions majority of the time. And you're clearing all the other emotions, and it just kind of feels like nothing feels right. So you kind of can hit a void space where you don't really feel anything. But what fuels you will change, and you will start to feel the change. And then when you get around a lot of chaos, you can't even operate in chaos anymore. You'll start to find you start spreading things really far out, so there is no chaos. I used to wait till the last minute to do everything. Fill up, even the small things like fill the car up with gas. I would wait till it was almost on empty and put it off. And now I find I plan really far out. If I see to do something, I do it immediately. I don't wait on it, no matter what it is, because I know, one, I'm holding something up, and I might crunch myself later on if I let myself hold certain things up. So it's always on us. So look at what fuels you. That's going to kind of tell you where you are. And when you see someone being fueled by emotion, you'll see the difference, the chaos that ensues, because they can't really see past their own emotion. They can't see past their own story. They can't see past where they are in the story. They're almost just a victim to the whole story. That's really the whole human reality. It's all like you're playing in the victim stuff. They're clearing it in a way. They are clearing it. They're just doing it a harder way. But they're playing in all the emotions. That's what gets them going. So if you don't show a lot of emotion, you don't really have a lot of emotion, people, someone in their human consciousness is going to think, wow, they don't show a lot. They don't say a lot. They don't do a lot. It's just a totally different motivational system. What fuels the body is different. It is not the same thing. When you're getting really into something that's really fueling your soul body, people call it the light body, you can go and go and go and go and go. You don't get tired. You keep going. When you're done with that thing, then your body will be exhausted, but it'll get you through anything. Because you get motivated, you get inspired, you get excited. And then when you're clearing emotions, because you usually, we keep going in and out of clearing processes because we have so much programming, that feels very draining, because it is very draining to clear programming. It's very draining because the emotions are draining. That's what's draining us. So, okay. Keep practicing the art of intuition.